Hello, what's happening? Matt, aka with the Frag here, doing part 6 in my Being Successful on YouTube series. And today we're going to talk about setting yourself, a guideline of rules, like what are your morals are for your business opportunity. And I call it a business opportunity because it is a very long-term thing, and you really need to think about the long term when you start doing commentaries, what you're talking about. And the reason I say this is image is everything on the internet. You have to realize that something that you say a few months ago could have long-term effects on what you're doing. If you decide to rage on a commentary, that can come back to bite you in the end. And it goes back to my conflict resolution commentary where I talk about, not getting involved in interactions with people that are negative. And that's my number one rule, is to be friendly to everybody. Even if I don't like somebody, I will still make my best attempt to either avoid or, be nice to that person. That's part of my business model, is to interact with as many people as I can in a friendly manner and, never agitate a situation. Because like I said, you don't know what the long-term, effects of that are. And now I have a couple other, really main rules that I follow. And the biggest one for me is I don't talk politics, I don't talk religion. And friends don't talk politics or religion is an old saying, and it's very true. And the reason that you don't talk about these things is they get so heated that it's not even worth the time. I may be very good friends with somebody, and we have completely different views on what politics are. And all talking about politics does will inflame that situation and make it worse. So I try to avoid these hot topic issues. And I mean, religion is obviously a huge one. Obviously, I have opinions on what I think. I have strong opinions on what I think. But on the internet, that's nobody's business. And you shouldn't go around, making hot-button issues, you shouldn't be talking about them. It's not good. It's not good for you. Maybe you'll gain supporters on one side, but you've completely alienated the other side of your following that, thinks the other way. And some people think so strongly about these things, they just can't get over the fact. They'll never get over it. They'll realize that that's your opinion and not want nothing to do with you. And that's the sad reality about opinions, is that some people just can't accept that other people have opinions, and that's actually a vast majority of people. I certainly have subjects that I do not enjoy discussing, that I have such strong opinions about, that I will simply never bring up, even in real life, with friends or coworkers or anything like that. It's just, part of my rules, part of what I go by. And going back to image, you only really have one chance to make a first impression on people. And if you do something that's, caustic, like a subject like that, you can start off on a horrible first impression. You can lose a friend, you can lose a subscriber, you can lose somebody to talk to over a simple opinion on a matter. You really have to look at the long-term ramifications of what you do, what you say, how you interact with people. I mean, if you want to be the world's #1 crap talker and that's how you want to gain your fame, that's totally your decision. I decided to go the opposite route. I want to be friendly with everybody, and it's worked out for me. You see a lot of people that rage and say all these negative things about games, about people, it's incredibly negative stuff about everybody. That's a real turn-off for me. I don't like associating myself with those kind of people. Really, the bottom line is, the friendlier you are to everybody, the better off you are. You don't have to agree with what everybody does. You don't have to agree with what they say or what they think. The bottom line, when you look at your YouTube as a long-term goal, it's a business opportunity, and you don't want to go screwing that up, making it personal. Your internet life and your personal life should always be separate, in my opinion. That's how I try to run my stuff. And, it's so important that you don't let personal emotions get involved on the internet. If you really want to succeed on YouTube, if you want to make it a long-term goal, and with the state that YouTube's in right now, with everybody trying to get on YouTube, you look at all these people that made it being negative. Those are the grandfathers of YouTube. Those are the people that have been there for a really long time. They had a head start on everybody. Now the market is flooded. And you can't afford to make any enemies nowadays. You don't want to make enemies. The more enemies you make, the harder it is going to be for you to push up. Hate is really viral on the internet. You only have to piss, the right person off, and everything goes downhill from there. So, maybe write yourself out a set of guidelines, things that you do and do not want to do. And obviously we're all human, and, we all make mistakes, and, maybe sometimes we do things that we regret. But if you have a clear understanding of what your guidelines are, what your business model is, what are you going to do to succeed, and what are you going to stop yourself from doing, even if you have a strong opinion or, you feel the need to say something. If you have that list written out, I have my list written out. Maybe you can stop yourself. Maybe you can, make good out of a bad situation. That's just my thoughts on the matter. I think the better person you are, the more friendly you are, the more you try to interact with everybody, regardless of opinions on the internet, the more successful you'll be. That's all I got. Frag out.